about that Mazda.
Oh yeah, the Mazda RX-8.
Yeah,
You
Mario.
hear a contract like that.
I got excited. They gave me a nice raise.
Yeah.
$5 raise right
New
off the
Iggy,
bat.
yeah.
I'm like, what?
New job, new me.
Yeah.
And then,
Is that an old shirt?
No. Oh my God, you're.
Yeah, that's an old shirt. She doesn't turn her stuff in. She keeps her
No, I
old
did
stuff.
turn myself in, I swear.
it was a retro Friday.
I don't know.
Right.
This is a throwback.
Oh, bees in the
All right, so
What's up? Yeah.
basically, guys, I don't have a whole lot to go over today. We have a pretty busy day for the people who are here. We have a couple people off, but as Sarah was talking about the flow tech here a few minutes ago, so that's something, like she said, it's something that
Just a
the
little-
cost itself is of the product is almost $1,000. It's like 900 and some change.
Yeah.
But you install it for $3,000 and it's a 5 or 10 minute job. I mean, so it's really easy. It's something to add to your repertoire, especially when someone doesn't want a whole house filtration system or any kind of softeners or whatever.
Like servicing
Or
to it?
townhouse, you can't even
So,
run a drain.
yeah.
Little things like
If
that.
it goes by the water heater typically, and there is a little bit of different people say different things about how far it goes, and like we're talking about, it needs, if you have a larger house, you may need a second one. But basically, Sarah, kind of tell me tell them what it does. I mean, what it's supposed to do for the water.
It's supposed to, what they're claiming it does, and it obviously does do it, is the minerals, what it does is sends positive and negative charges through the piping. And what that does to the minerals is on like a molecular level, it'll start making all the minerals, even some of the existing calcification in the pipes, will start making it, instead of sticking to the pipes and your faucets and your fixtures and damaging it, it'll make the minerals stick to each other. Okay, so yeah, you will have like little sediment balls basically in the lines. This is for us to know, you don't have to tell the customer that. You can tell them in a different way, and what'll happen is, because all of that is sticking to itself now, is the aerators, shower heads, after some time, once it starts doing what it's supposed to do, can get clogged because that sediment now will come out of the faucets because it's sticking. And that's why in like really old systems, you don't necessarily want to put that in. It's not the system for your house. Even if they wanted it, you might have to tell them that's not going to be for you, because now if you're lifting calcification in the pipe, sometimes that's all that's holding that pipe together. So it can spring out
Yeah,
leaks.
from a pinhole,
So
yeah.
as the person recommending it, you have to know when to. But this lady, like I said, repiped her house in copper 7 years ago. This is the time that she has to put it in, something like that.
And another good time to put it in, if you do a brand new repipe in copper in particular, right? Put it in right away when
That's
you
what they
install
should
it.
have done.
Then you don't have the buildup happening from day one. And you have to have electricity like we were talking about. You have to have or somewhere where it can plug into, because that's important. But negative ions, positive ions, it does something that keeps those basically from sticking to the walls of the pipe, but they're sticking together and then do come out. Now,
And they come out right and flushes out.
it flushes out, so that's going to mean, and I know Iggy knows this, and you don't know really plumbing on this part of it yet, Will, but one of the things that whenever we've done as in epoxy lining, when we open up water, we make sure we take the aerator off, always. So before you go in, and a lot of times we would bring a thing of aerators with us and just change them all out.
Yeah, just
Because we want to run everything first, flush it all out. We're putting, we want to clear all the stuff out of the pipes. And it's the same thing when you have this system in there. After amount of time, you're going to have to come back and probably take aerators off, because that's what the callbacks will be on that
Book
system.
a trip,
Oh,
yeah.
after, right?
Well, you should probably like book a trip, is what
Right,
they say to
a
do.
follow-up- a
Yeah,
follow-up
this
trip.
includes the follow-up.
Like a month later,
Exactly.
2 months later, when?
Yeah,
Like,
it's usually
a month, within the month.
yeah, usually within a couple of weeks to a month. I mean, you want to be able to go back in, and
And just
so when you do that though, you want to make sure you're checking the aerator, what kind of aerators you have, because there's different ones now. I mean, back when we were doing this, it was a lot easier. You had 2 or 3 different ones, maybe, and that's it. Now you have like 3 different colors of things you have to undo on the Kohlers and price fisters and
Special
things like that.
tools.
Right. So know what you're going to need. Make note of it in Service Titan, and then that way when we have to go back out there, we can have them with us, because a lot of times, as I know, both you two know for sure, when you're taking aerators off, sometimes you gotta replace them. I mean, you just can't clean them because they're either frozen shut, or they're just to the point where you can't even take, you have to take them apart sometimes even, and hopefully get them back together and still work, because they're just, they got little plastic
So that's when you
pieces
tell
and,
them, like, hey, that was the least of your worries.
Right.
So yeah, you might need a new faucet, you might need a new this, but
right, especially if you get an old faucet or whatever the case is.
you avoided a flat out.
Shower heads, the same thing. I mean, you know that that's what's gonna happen, is you got all that stuff coming into the shower head. But it's gonna be better for their pipes and the longevity of their pipes by using the system, so there's definitely some advantages to it. So you guys can go online and look that up and just kind of familiarize yourself with it if you want. It'll help you.
Flow tank.
Flow
It
tech,
just
yeah.
helps because not everybody wants that full-on,
Right,
whole house
So it's
purification,
just-
even though they should.
Yeah.
Like, if it was up to me, I'd want her to get that, but it wasn't for her.
right. And in my house, it's my water comes in the front of my house, and I'd have to bury it in the ground, and I mean, and it would have to, to look decent, because you walk up my driveway, or my walkway, it's right to the left, in plain view, where I have rose bushes and stuff, and the last thing I want is some big ugly old thing hanging out there,
That's where you could offer that.
Right.
She just goes on the water heater.
All right, so a couple of other things that are coming up, I wanted to kind of throw it at you guys. Our payroll company, that we've only had for a few months, TriNet, and I know that Sarah knows of a couple of issues, one of them being you want a second check, so you're splitting up your taxes when you get a bigger check. They want to charge like $50-something. I mean, it's ridiculous. So there's other issues internally that Tina and I have to deal with, the way that they want it done at a certain time, and it's so quick. We're trying to get everything finalized. If we make a mistake, then they charge us more. Meaning like, let's say Sarah says, "Oh wait, I'm missing $30-something because I didn't get paid on this," right? And I've already turned payroll, and their deadline's up. I got to either wait till next week, or I've got to write a separate check here, or they're going to charge me. So we're like trying to eliminate all these fees that these guys have, and it's ridiculous. So we've kind of decided that I think basically at the beginning of the year we're going to we're going to do it ourselves, because we only have 20 of us here overall with everybody in here in the office. The only downside really of us doing it ourselves is that we're not going to have direct deposit. For those of you who now have direct deposit, because that was a convenient thing. I liked it. I liked
Really
it.
nice.
You don't have to worry about getting your check. However, if you need to do that second check, or if you lose a check, which they want to charge us all this money for and all these fees, we just write you another check. I can give you 2 checks. I can do all of that stuff.
Right.
And you still get paid on Fridays. We don't have to worry about anything that way. So it's going to be a lot more convenient for us as a company and us as individuals when that kind of stuff happens. So I think that's basically the decision Tina and I have kind of come up with, is
Makes sense.
to solve this. Because they're expensive. I mean, these little payroll companies, they offer some things like HR and stuff, which we really even haven't used. They have other things that they do. They sent a trainer out to one of our HVAC jobs and said, "Okay, well, you guys are wearing respirators and this, but you guys need this and this and that." And it's like, oh my gosh, you're gonna tell us how we got to run our company now? It's just a lot of little stuff. So that's one of the changes that I think is going to come that we're looking at. Another thing, there's 2 other ones. One of them is I'm looking at our website and how to optimize it better, because that just makes it better for us when people are looking us up, trying to be on the first page. You guys all know what SEO is, search engine optimization. Okay, so when someone looks you up, there's certain keywords if they're looking for plumbing in San Clemente and Dana Point, all these different areas that we work in, HVAC, hydronics, all of those things. To optimize your website and to be on that first page, or with the first 10 top to bottom, that's called search engine optimization. The company we're at, IMA, is who kind of did our website, the one that we just got 7-8 months ago. They're really, really expensive to do that, and so right now I'm not using that part of it for them. They're just hosting our website because they're so expensive. So I'm looking at something else for that. So there's a possibility where we get our website kind of boosted and some things like that won't cost us a lot of money. I would just have somebody else host it. So they've already did the major work of getting it done, but we can make it a lot better for a lot less money than they would charge. So that's a possibility as well. And then the third thing, in addition to the payroll and the website, is Service Titan. Service Titan's really expensive, for those of you who don't know. It has some good features, it has some bad features. So I'm looking, not bad features, some difficult things to work with, okay? They're meant to be good, but their support has gone down the toilet. And it's like, anytime I try to get a hold of them for something now, it's like an act of Congress, right? So I just don't, I'm getting tired of them. And they have this cool thing with the email thing that I told you guys about that is kind of working a little bit. I've tried it, this is my free month right now, but it's also really, really expensive. So I'm looking at another one right now that next week I actually go in, I have a conference, like a video conference with them. And I'm just looking at possibilities. I'm not sure we're gonna change, but I also went to Service Titan and said, hey, you know, we don't have a contract with you anymore. You guys, these prices are pretty high. They're not very competitive anymore in the market. So they're looking at reducing the price at least. So either one or the other is gonna happen, hopefully. Either we're gonna get better pricing for them, and I also told them about the support issues, so I'm trying to work with them first, because we already have them, we already know how to use it. But there is a possibility, and again, it wouldn't be probably to the beginning of the year, but I'm just kind of letting you guys know, so you're aware, that may be something else that changes, because I'm all about trying to make things more cost effective for us, as long as we can also make it easy for us to use and not having all these issues and running into walls all the time.
There's there's a service called Take Anywhere. It's simple to use, keeps track of all the hours for payroll, and for your arrival time, lunchtime, keeps track of everything for you. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. There's a lot of them out there. I'm really looking at keep it simple, number one, and number two, making it, obviously it has to be mobile for our iPads and phones or whatever we're using. Scheduling is important to me. So I'm looking at all the features that are important to us internally. Because the way you guys do your time, you guys aren't hourly employees, so it's really, you guys still have to do the manual sheets so that I can fill out your time properly, and your commissions and all of that. So it's a little bit different than some systems say, oh yeah, we can track you with GPS and all that and see what time you're here, what time you leave and all that. That's not important, because you guys a lot of times are going from job to job and then going and getting parts and whatever you're doing. But I'm trying to tighten things up. So I'm just giving you guys kind of a heads up now, so you know what's going to be coming potentially. Okay. You got anything, Kevin?
Nah, I'm good.
All right. Yeah, that's it. So let's get out there and get to work, guys.
Okay.